Another new plane again today at Random America Airfield, which is Bryce Canyon, which appears to be in the middle of nowhere. That seems to be a recurring theme for Utah, although Utah is looking quite nice today. Anyway, our plane for the day is the B-38 Lightning, which looks okay from the outside anyway. Yeah, it'll do. Not the sharpest of textures on the panel, but so it's okay, nothing to worry about there. I can live with that. So let's take it for a ride. And speaking of that, I was thinking of playing a short burst of Ride the Lightning by Metallica, but I'll probably get a copyright strike for that, so let's not bother. Yeah, we'll just go and fly the Lightning instead. Fortunately, we seem to have spawned on an apron which is close to the end of the runway, so that's kind of handy. Right, just sorting out my map. There we go. Yeah, at 8 knots of wind, so nothing too bad. I'm not going to worry about which way it's blowing. I'm trying to worry about which flaps. That sits over there. No idea if that's too much or not enough, but we'll give it a go and see. Yeah, it looks like we are at the wrong end of the runway looking at that windsock, but never mind. Let's give it a go anyway. Seems to be doing okay so far. It's all fairly stable and easy enough to fly. Mountains and things looking quite nice with the time of day and the cloud and the shadows and those hills and things around here. It's all rather a pretty part of Utah. So, yeah, I'm impressed. So, a quick look on the map gives us our nearest airfield to here is a place called Panguitch Muni. So let's go there as it's not too far, and we can have a look at that airport as well today while we're testing out our Lightning. Just get ourselves pointed in generally the right kind of direction that we want to be going. Yeah, Bryce Canyon. This is one of a whole load of different little national parks around here, I believe. Never actually been here. I did go to see the Valley of Fire, which is not too far outside of Las Vegas. It's a similar kind of thing, I suppose. Sort of interesting rock formations. Those words have just sent my brain slightly sideways, and I'm now thinking Phil Campbell, Mickey D and Lemmy. That was certainly an interesting rock formation in my opinion. Just in case that makes no sense, they were the final and longest serving members of Motorhead, by the way. Probably my favourite band. Certainly the band I saw playing live most. Yeah, never let me down, and sadly still missed. Yeah, we're flying okay, but we are in a military plane after all, so we should try a roll and a loop to see what this thing is like. For a larger twin aircraft, that wasn't too bad. Plenty of aileron control to spin it over fairly quickly. That was okay. And let's try looping. Ooh, big fluffy wings. Ailerons seem to be working a lot better than the elevators. Not exactly snapping us up and over like a fighter jet. But then again, it's not a fighter jet, is it? Although I think it is kind of a fighter, or sort of. Or was one back when those things had propellers, anyway. I suppose more of a utilitarian aircraft kind of thing, really, so not in the category of a Spitfire for manoeuvrability. Without looking it up to check, I'm guessing this was a jack-of-all-trades kind of machine, judging by the look of it. Probably do long-range fighter escorts. Guessing you could probably strap a few bombs to it as well if you wanted to, so yeah, could end up with a large range of different missions. Not sure about its cargo carrying capability, but if the smaller things like a microwave lasagna for one that needed to be transported somewhere, I bet this would be just fine. Yeah, a good choice in fact, it is capable of quite a reasonable speed, so if somebody needed a microwave lasagna for one in a hurry, then the Lightning probably would be an ideal choice for that. Okay, so not too far away from our destination. Have been heading south of it so that we can make a turn and be fairly well lined up with the runway for our landing. Well, a landing once we can find the airfield anyway. According to the X-Plane moving map, it looks like this road and river just off to our right. If we follow that, then hopefully airfield should pop into view sooner or later. It's that sort of general direction, I believe. Just notice this switch here. Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. Yeah, got two different panel types that you can flick between. Yeah, stick with the original vintage one for now, although I may well try the other one in a different flight at some point, as that may actually have been slightly better. But yeah, start and get ourselves set up for landing, even though I don't have a visual on the runway just yet. Not knowing the procedures for this thing, I'll just go for full flaps by the time we get to the touchdown zone and seat of the pants feel for speeds, which is all I can do really. Might be going a little slow at the moment, but we are still flying. Haven't fallen out of the sky just yet. Yeah, that landing gear activation is certainly a bit noisy. Obviously I've never flown one of these in real life, but I'm guessing the volume of the wheels compared to the volume of the engines, it's not quite in balance with each other compared to real life, but who knows, maybe it is correct. Not really much of a problem either way, so... Right, well we have found the runway then. Looks longer than I was expecting it, which is nice. And seems like it may well be fairly flat with no anomalies in the terrain mesh or anything like that. So yeah, we're good for landing. Landing at another Utah standard airfield. By that I mean it's in the middle of nowhere again. Okay. Possibly not the best ever approach. Ooh, a bit low, come up there, up. And now down. Oh, yeah, that was a little heavy, I think. Yeah, kind of a throw it into the floor rather than any finesse with that one. Although military aircraft, they are quite tough, aren't they? They are built to... oh, bollocks. X-plane appears to have crashed. Brilliant. Yeah, so that's the end of that flight then. I'll see you again soon.